Do you put this, I mean, we've now seen Facebook, obviously they're leading the charge with this Forward.us, a controversial political advocacy group for many of these tech companies out in Silicon Valley, and they're really throwing in their weight on the immigration debate, and people argue as to their relative success in that regard, but certainly they're putting money, these executives, into kind of the advertising component of this, and they've also engaged people on Facebook, and obviously Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO and founder of Facebook, has been at the helm on this. Is this all part and parcel of that Mark Zuckerberg is now, he's gotten the political bug and he wants to make this more politicized, and so hashtags are a follow-up on Forward.us?
So number one, I think that the whole Forward.us is about Zuckerberg's politics, not Facebook's politics. When you run a big tech company, your concerns about immigration are different than if you are an immigration advocate. You're looking for H-1B visas, you're looking for high-tech, high-skilled people because that's who you need to hire. That's a very different strategy, and it changes how you look at it. As far as the hashtags and politicizing Facebook and making Facebook, I don't think Zuckerberg is motivated by making Facebook more effective for politics. I think he's motivated by making Facebook more competitive with other social networks. Facebook has been basically copying functionality from other platforms as they take off. So when Google Plus came out and had the ability to create circles where you could share your content, your posts, with very specific sub-segments of your total contact list on Google Plus, eventually Facebook implemented similar kind of, they had already had lists, but you couldn't do anything with them. And now when you post something on your Facebook wall, you're able to identify who can see it and who can't see it, a la Google Plus. And I think that the hashtags is basically an acknowledgement of the fact that hashtags serve an incredible use on Twitter to reach people outside of your network, outside of your personal network, and I think Facebook saw that as something people were clamoring for. I think that the biggest complaints against hashtags in Twitter, and go back to your earlier point about it being sort of a clutter or distracting, are people who use too many hashtags or use hashtags that are too obscure, or they're not using it very effectively or strategically, and it seems to take away from the substance of the message. On Facebook, I think it's a different story. There is this tendency, because Facebook posts are longer, that you can put a lot of hashtags in it, and people are going to go, oh, then it's going to make it completely unreadable. But I think quite the contrary. Because Facebook allows you to create a very long post, you can write some very clear narrative prose, then skip a space, put a link, and then skip a couple of spaces and put a bunch of hashtags at the bottom as almost a footnote. It's not disrupting the read of the post itself, and it gets all that functionality to connect it to all these conversations across the bottom. And in a way, it serves a purpose that's much more akin to the way we use tags in blog posts, as opposed to the way, above and beyond the way we use hashtags in Twitter.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. Alan, do you have a favorite hashtag at the moment? You invented the DOH hashtag. We've established that.
Yeah, I invented DOH and I invented Top Prog. You fought
other hashtags. You've got into Twitter gladiator matches with Unite Blue,
right,
a little bit.
And with Eric Cantor, very often with Eric Cantor.
My favorite hashtag, full repeal.
My favorite hashtag personally is think till it hurts. That's kind of my mantra. That's one that I use. I don't think anybody else uses it unless they're retweeting me. Occasionally people see it and they like it. But the idea is that there's so many people out there that are just making all these ridiculous statements that if they just thought it through, they would see that they're making no sense. And so I force them to, so when I push back on somebody who's making no sense with some clarity, I think, in the conversation, I will throw in sort of a snarky think till it hurts hashtag.
Well, Alan, I'm thinking till it hurts because every time you talk on Take Action News, it stimulates me.
Well, that's my job.
And it makes me thinking. And so I value that and that opportunity, and these ideas are incredible.